Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we look at an anime known as Sunday Without God. Now, hopefully you guys like the new intro. I put on Twitter a poll. I don't probably know if this is coming out this week or not, but I put a poll on Twitter asking if people liked it. I don't know the results of that right off the top of my head, but if people didn't like it, I'm not gonna keep using it per se. But if you guys who aren't following me on Twitter like it, please put in the comments below telling me, hey, what do you think of the intro in terms of how it works with the anime reviews? If not, I can always switch back to the other one. I still have that saved. Or if you want me to, I can even switch back and forth between the two. It's not a big deal. Anyways, Sunday Without God was recommended to me by someone, and honestly, the premise of it right away intrigued me. So, what happens at the beginning of this is that we have God telling humans that he does not want to have anything to do with us anymore. He's like, you know what? All of you are left to your own devices now. You are not allowed to per se die anymore. So when you die in the world of the living now, you become known as a deceased walking, or just a deceased, as the anime puts it, where you're not per se a zombie. I don't want to put it like that, where everyone starts eating people and stuff like that. No, what you are is a walking corpse, and you still look like a normal person. For some people, they look completely normal, like nothing happened to them at all. But for others, depending on how you died, you could look like someone who got smashed in the head, or you can look like someone who got hit in the chest with a bullet, whatever, and you're not allowed to die. But the thing is that depending on how you died per se will also kind of affect your outward being and also how your mind works. So for some people, being dead for a long time will make them go crazy steadily over time, because they start to rot and they start to have all these issues in terms of like brain damage and etc., oxygen depravity, and all this other stuff. So it's very interesting. We really focus on several characters in this. We focus mainly, though, on Austin, who is this young girl who apparently is what we call a gravekeeper. What they do is they essentially have to take the deceased that die, the ones that are the walking deceased, and put them in ground and actually bury them themselves. And when they do that, it causes the person that did die finally to move on and actually be taken up into heaven or hell, depending on wherever the show kind of puts that, because it really doesn't say too much about heaven or hell. It just says they move on, so it's kind of left in your own devices there. She is going to meet several more cast of characters, all that have different various ranges of personalities and concepts. And in many ways, this show is a very arc based kind of show. It's 12 episodes, but there are several arcs where she goes and meets different people. She goes to different cities and sees the world as this kind of crumbling society where a lot of people are going crazy because they have not been able to die. On top of no one being able to die officially anymore, there's also people that cannot birth children anymore because God made it so no more humans can be born among the world. So you have no more birth. Essentially, people that die still staying among the living, and then you also have the gravekeepers, which are essentially cloned in thousands, sometimes in hundreds, and all this other stuff. You have people with strange powers that they were able to grant and garner, which is apparently like a wish system, where if you wish something hard enough, you will get a kind of, I want to say, almost twisted version of that wish. But one thing I really liked about the show is I really love the kind of way the story is so different and very unique. I really can't think off the top of my head too many stories that are kind of like this, and that was one thing I really loved watching every episode. It was something that you felt like every episode was very different, and each arc was very interesting in its own right. I didn't feel like any one arc was stronger than the other one. They were all felt equally strong, and all provided characters that you really cared about and kind of concepts and stuff like that that further along the story, but at the same time kept you always trying to guess what's exactly going on in the world. And what we got to really see is everything from I's standard, her point of view. So you feel like you're seeing the world from a young girl's perspective when she was essentially in a village her whole life, and now going out to this big open world is going from town to town, meeting different people that have different agendas, and is starting to learn how people work and kind of trying to keep her own sanity at the same time, as well as keep her, I want to say vibrancy, and how she is such a nice person and wants to keep that kindness for herself and make sure she spreads it out still, because as we learn about gravekeepers, their job is to help the living as much as they can. So they try to do that themselves. Now there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I can tell you guys, but it would be all spoilers, so I can't tell you like who characters die or what characters have this issues with them or what characters don't have issues with them. I don't want to do that. I want you guys to go in fresh. Like, I don't even want to introduce any of the characters that you meet along the way, because I think one of the best things about this anime is all the cast of characters you meet and what their role is in the kind of bigger picture of the story. Now, graphic animations, all that look solid. I love the animation style for this, and I say graphics because there are some moments of CGI and kind of almost like, I want to say, a little bit of twisting of CGI, where it's a mortal line between CGI and like 2D art. it looks very solid. I never had a problem with it. I think that the whole show looks very well done. I love the characters. I love the designs. I kind of like how they use a kind of muted like tone to it, where it looks like dusk all the time and kind of a dawn mixture. It looks really solid, and plus the open like areas of this whole show in general looks really nice. The environments were really well done. I have no issue with the art style whatsoever in this anime. Sound wise, I have some things to say about the sound. I actually did like the opening closing, not a lot, but I like them enough that I can watch them once in a while. I love the background music. I think the background music was very form fitting and very mood setting too. Voice acting wise, I watched this predominantly in Japanese, but I did see some of the English dub for it. I will say the English dub for it is very well done. It has some big cast of characters, and it wasn't bad at all. But the thing is, for me, I felt like the characters were a little bit better in Japanese. So I mean, that's just up to up to me saying that to you guys and girls. But you can choose between the two. I think they're both very solid. Overall, the only issue I think I ever had with Sunday Without God was probably the ending, which I know some people might not have an issue with, but for me, I kind of had an issue with how it just kind of ends. That's it. Like you get this one last story and arc, and it has a really nice kind of setup, and I actually did cry at one part because it was really really touching and really dramatic, and then it kind of just ends, and I'm like. I don't hate that, but at the same time, it kind of took me away from enjoying this overall. Like, I wish this show would have been a little longer. And I think for the most part, it's probably because when this finished, the anime probably wasn't completely done yet. And it looks like, yeah, from what I'm looking right now, the anime came out in 2013. The light novel series finished in 2014, so most likely they didn't finish it completely. But I really wish they would have been just a little bit more conclusion. I do know there's an OVA. I did not watch the OVA for the review. From what I hear, it looks like it's just a bunch of short stories type thing. It's really only one episode though, so it's like really for me not really a big deal to watch it or not. This is, by the way, available on Crunchyroll, so if you want to watch it on Crunchyroll, you can do that. It's available on a whole bunch of other websites. I checked it out before, so I could say that without an issue. But overall, if I had to rate this between an A through F, have to give it a solid B. I think it fits perfectly there, where there was a little bit of issue with the whole ending, and that kind of kills my score for it. But honestly, for what I saw, it was a very enjoyable watch, and you definitely should check it out if you're looking for something kind of different and unique. Anyways, guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this review. As always, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. You know the whole nines. Whole nines. Whole nine. Until I pass across again in the next review, have a great day, everyone. God bless you all. Bye-bye.